An if statement is good when you have two cases to contend with, either it is true or it is false, but often we need to handle more cases than that. So, in that case we either have to use else if, or we have to combine the output of an of the operator somehow, or you have to use something called a nested if. So, in this video we will look at all of them. So, let us jump in, and we have the previous example on screen now. So, let us create another file, let us call it age eligibility .py. So, the scenario that we are that I am setting up here is, we want to write a program to check for valid age for employment. So, if you are less than 18 years of age, you cannot be employed, but also if you are over 60 years of age, then also you cannot be employed, because then you are too old, of course. So you are, then in that case you are eligible for pension. So, we need to check for three cases: if the given input is below 18, if the input age is above 18 but below 60, and if the input age is above 60. So, you see there are three cases, and one if would not be good enough. So, let's take a look what we have to do here. So, first things first, we will have to take an input, and we will right away convert it to integer. Also, just as a side note, can you modify this program so that the program so the program basically asks for your date of birth, or even just your birth year, and then calculates the age? Should be pretty simple, no? So, try to implement that here. So, we have our age now, and we have to check if, first of all we will check if age is less than 18, then we will just print out that, oh sorry, I am putting square brackets out of habit. So, yep, there we go. Print you are a minor, and now so in the else condition there are two possibilities remaining. So, we have to check else if. So, Python calls this elif. Age is greater than 60. Something like that. And then if both of these things are satisfied, if none of these things are satisfied, then we know that we have someone with a valid age. So, else we will just say you are eligible. Okay, so let's save that and let's run this. Let's clear our screen. Tell us your age, let's say 25. Oops, I did not put any number here, so that threw an error, because nothing cannot be converted to integer. So 25, you are eligible. Let's run that again. Let's say 65, you are eligible for pension. Good, that veteran. I've spelled that wrong, of course. Let's say age 12, you are a minor. So you can see all of the three cases are being good day, veteran. So all of the three cases are being successfully evaluated, and the correct blocks are being executed appropriately. By the way, this indented piece of code is known as a block in Python. We will encounter more of them when we learn about iteration and functions. So the same functionality can be achieved by using what is known as a nested if. So once we have checked that if the age is if this is false, then we will fall to the else clause. Okay, sorry about that, what I'm doing. So let's go back. Edit, redo. Okay, control Y. Okay, so I switched my language, I think. No, I didn't. Okay, so anyway, so now we will do the exact same thing, but not using else if, but using a nested if. So once we have determined that so if our okay, hang on a minute, I think okay, this is fine. So this example we will not touch. We will have to come up with another example for the nested if case. So here, so the else if is useful. Let's get our program back. Let's type that out. You are eligible. So this program is fine. So here, if this condition is not met, then we are checking for another condition. But what happens if we need to have a scenario when if the age is less than 18, then we have to check another condition. So let's imagine now we have to account for gender or ethnicity or which country you belong from or something like that. So how do we implement that? So then we go for a nested if. So here we can write another if statement. If, let's say, we have to ask the user another question, and let's say country, and so and let's say we will check if country is equal to India. We can do that like this. We have to do it like this, and notice that we have put it in as a capital I. So when we write that, we have to keep that in mind. Also, it is possible we can do a case conversion. So basically, whatever comes in, we can just cast it to. That's what I will do. Let's do that. So whatever comes in, what we will do is we will convert this to upper. Upper. That way, no matter what the user types, we don't have to worry about that. So if the country is India, then we can say that you are a minor, and then we can say print so this will only print if the person is less than 18 years of age and an Indian. we can combine these two statements. So instead of doing an if inside of an if, what we can also do is do this, and the next condition, and then remove this. So now the now it will print you a minor only if made a mistake here. So input, do that, of course. So only if the person belongs to India and there is and he is of the correct age. But imagine a scenario where we have to check if the person is is Indian, and then we have to check the age. So basically, if he is not an Indian, we don't even consider him. If only he is an Indian, then we basically go for the other criteria. So let's try and do that. I'll cut that out. So here this will be problematic, because then we have to put this condition and everywhere. So we have to do that here, we have to do that here, to do that everywhere. So that is no good. And also you have to check it here if else, and then you have to put another if, and that gets very messy. So this is a very good case where we can use the nested if statement. So what we will do is we will basically tab this. So we will put the entire thing inside of another if. So we will do our little if statement that we were doing before. Don't need that and. So if country is India, then do all of this, and notice that we just tabbed it. So we tabified it, or because this is now inside of another if statement, we have to have that little space. So the entire block has to be advanced by 4 spaces or 1 tab, and that's how Python defines what will be executed after this is evaluated. And so after this is evaluated, whatever is tabified like this will be executed. That's how Python defines it. So in other languages, what you will see is some structure like this. So if this is a C based structure, this will be a valid way of doing it, but Python doesn't do it like that. And so if you had that kind of a structure where you determine the block using these curly braces, then you would not need these spaces, or you don't need to indent it properly. But Python doesn't do that. So Python is entirely indent based, as we have discussed before. But when we get into discussions of for loops and if statements, we have to be really careful that we maintain this properly, and that is why it is always a good idea to write Python in an IDE which supports and knows about this. Okay, so back to our little program here. And so if the country is not India, if the person is not Indian, I always do that, but okay, that's not going to help us. So you see the IDE somehow recognized it wrong and put it in the wrong spot, so I just deleted the space that was put in. So if this statement is this statement turns out to be false, this entire block will be skipped, and we will come directly here, and there we will print out sorry, we cannot employ foreigners. Sad face. That's messing up a bit, but I'll get that done. Let's sad face, there you go. So this is a case where we first check a condition. If that is true, then there are a few other conditions you have to check, and so on. So this structure can be you can basically repeat this structure and nest this structure as many times as you want. So if you want, you can put this entire thing inside another for loop and so on. But not going to take it too far, of course. So let's run this example. CLS, and let's run that. So it says please tell us your age. I'll say 19, And which country do you belong to? I will say Germany, and it says sorry, we cannot employ foreigners. And let's run that again. I will say 45 and I will say India, and I can say anything with capitalization wise, I can say anything because remember I converted it to upper. So it says you are eligible. So you can see that it works, and we can run that again and say our age is 60 and then we are Indian, and then you are eligible. Did it come? Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, so you are eligible because what we are checking if age is greater than 60. So if age is equal to 60, this is false, this is also false, right? So this then becomes true. So in our case, pension is, you are only eligible for pension if you are above age 60. So from 61 it is counted. So just to prove that point, let's run that again. This is 61, and you say good veteran. I still haven't corrected that, it seems. Okay, so this was a discussion on the nested if statements and combining statements of combining different operators with the and the or operators, and also the else if statement. Okay, so just a last thing. So I think I discussed the AND operator. So you can combine two booleans by just like saying true and true is true, true and false is false. So this is just a logical AND. So these are called logical operators. And so the you know, you learned of the AND gate and the OR gate and all that. So these are those essentially. So true and true is true, true and false is false, true or false is true, true or false is true. So and or not, these are all these logical operators that are implemented in Python, and you can use them in conjunction with any boolean or any expression that evaluates to a boolean. So we saw an example of that here when we were checking. So we can say and something basically. If the something evaluates to a true, and then that will be combined as a logical AND with this, and so that's how you work with these logical operators. I thought I'll make that a little bit clear. So coming back to the outro, here we discussed the logical operators, the logical operators, the nested if statement, and the else if in Python.